When I left the UK, moved to South Korea in August 2012, I was always proud to tell people that I was British, something I would go shouting from the rooftops about, but it was never something that I had to think twice about. People would often interpret it as British people, gentlemen, etc., that type of thing. In South Korea, I was part of a little expat community. I didn't have hundreds of friends, but I interacted with a lot of people. Americans, Canadians, Australians, South Africans mainly. There were some Europeans out there, some South Americans. I think nowadays, because Korean culture has become so much more popular, there is a bigger, wider, vaster expat community in South Korea. And then same when I moved to Japan, Tokyo, had a wide network there, a lot of friends from different countries. But again, being British was no big deal. People were just from where they are from. And then I moved to Thailand. And obviously I moved out here for slightly different reasons. I was in a relationship. I was here to be with my wife, to build a life with my wife. You put stuff out there, especially the fact that you're from the UK, there is a lot of scrutiny about where certain people are from. There is a lot of prejudice against certain demographics, and the UK don't get the worst of it, don't get me wrong, but that scrutiny of other people, other groups, is of interest to me. I think it's something that has become far more prominent in recent times. I find it very interesting because I come from a very strange generation where I saw the world as an adult just before social media took over, and now I am experiencing the world as a slightly older adult since social media has took over. When you're out here in Thailand, this expat community that finds its way online, I think there's two demographics that I think show a lot of aggression, a lot of outward negativity. Younger generation's a weird one for me. I'm 37. Oh, you look 67. Are you only 37? Yeah, I'm only 37. I am only 37, but I think of when I first started to become sort of consumed by this social media bug. At first, for us, my group of friends, the thrill of social media was kind of putting in jokes out there publicly. So you would be making references other people don't understand. This is on Facebook, the early days when people still used Facebook. You'd be putting things out there that you understand, your friends would understand. It might be a little bit risque, but nobody else would understand it. I first got Instagram, especially 12 years ago, maybe. Now, 12 years ago, someone who's 27 would have been 15. And they were probably also getting Instagram around that time. So they would have grown up in this world of constant judgment, constant pressure, always being worried about what other people think of you, and also always judging other people based on what they present online. So I kind of have a little bit of sympathy for this younger generation who does get some slack because they've been conditioned that way. Then there's the other side of the coin, which is the older generation. They're the ones who amuse me the most. If you've seen my videos before, you know I've had a few issues with the older generations down the years, and I just find it probably is a case of this is an outlet that didn't exist for them before. So they've got these frustrations in life, they're tired of life. Before, they wouldn't have any way to get that out of their system, and now they have. They can go online, they can write horrible comments on other people's posts, makes them feel better temporarily. Kind of like when you need a drink to unwind sometimes. Sometimes you just want to go and have a drink for no reason, crack open a beer, get yourself a whiskey, etc. And it really relaxes you, it brings you down. I feel like that is what social media has become to a lot of more frustrated elder people. It's just that way to quickly bring themselves down, to relax themselves when they're feeling a bit stressed, when they're feeling a bit wound up. Nothing worth getting upset about. It's nothing personal. They're just looking for someone to attack, and you happen to be in the line of fire. Like I say, my generation was right on the cusp. I was mid-20s when this started to take over. So I had my late teens, my early 20s, free from social media. Yeah, there were things like MySpace, the early days of Facebook, but it was nothing like it is online now, where you are just bombarded with a group of strangers who are algorithmically speaking about things that frustrate you. It's almost as if when you go on something like TikTok nowadays, they want you to be annoyed. They want you to be wound up by what you are seeing. My perspective about human beings is that you treat everyone equal regardless of their status, their perceived status. And in this age of social media, of celebrity, of course, it's not difficult to get some status. I'm sure here in Thailand, there are Thailand influencers, celebrities that nobody outside of this community will have ever heard of, yet here they are idolized, they are put up on a pedestal, and that's fine, good for them, there's nothing wrong with that. But I treat everyone the same. Everyone's opinion is valid, and unless you prove me otherwise, I will continue to do so. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some exceptions based on actual achievement. If I saw Sir Alex Ferguson walking down this pier right now, and I got to meet him for the second time, I would be absolutely starstruck. I wouldn't know what to do. That guy is like the grandfather of Manchester United football fans growing up. He was there through everything, kind of like the Queen. Alternatively, if I saw Park Chan-wook, the Korean film director who had a massive influence on me growing up, the starstruck, I'd want to ask so many questions. These people have achieved something, and I respect those people for it. If it's just somebody living in Thailand like myself, sharing a few opinions online, if they've got valid opinions, I'll respect them. If I don't agree with their opinions, I'll swipe on. The fact people get so wound up and agitated by random strangers on the internet is a fascinating concept to me. I always think it must be the consequence of being really lonely that an outsider can have an effect on your life like that. And I'm not trying to disrespect someone. I'm trying to come up with a logical, valid reason, because if I see genuine, hateful, hurtful comments towards me, I don't respond, I just get rid of it. The ones I like to respond to are the ones that have no substance. People who just label you a clown, people who just say you don't know what you're talking about just because they don't like the look of you, because they don't like the way you wear your hat, the way you wear your sunglasses, etc. Those types of opinions don't mean anything. Here's the meat and bones of what I want to say. Why do those sort of opinions come out so much in a place like Thailand? I think it's because life is so simple and so good here. We're so lucky to live here. Now, that's not me just licking Thailand's arse for no reason. Let me give you the alternative to that. People in the UK right now are complaining constantly about the increasing cost of living, and I speak to some of my friends and I feel sorry for the situation that they find themselves in. If you think of the financial side of life as a series of contracts, these people in the UK, they've signed a certain contract, and yet the details are constantly being changed, the goals are constantly being moved. They are real problems, especially with regards to things like childcare, education, utility bills, etc. When those simplicities in life are becoming unsustainable, I can see why there is frustration back home. As the father of a beautiful baby girl, I'm so worried about the direction society's going in. Social media as a whole is bad enough, but I think as parents, our duty was always and will always be to teach our children to stay grounded, to work hard. Theoretically, they will be rewarded for that hard work in the future. It doesn't always work out that way. I think they are solid values to live life by, but this latest social media platform that has become increasingly popular, and I don't just mean in its niche, I mean it is getting national coverage. These people, these creators are getting a national platform to promote themselves, to justify what they are doing, even though it is just decrepit self-exploitation in the name of making some quick and easy cash. I think it's terrifying that the BBC, ITV This Morning, national newspapers, whatever podcast you listen to, they're all giving these girls a platform. They're all normalizing this as a part of society. Amongst every other reason, that is one of the main reasons why I would not want to move back to the UK and raise my child there. The normalization of everything. And you're probably thinking, wait a minute, don't you live in Thailand, brother? Isn't there quite a red light industry out there? And that is a silly concept that often gets thrown around on social media, that Thailand is only about its nightlife. Those sectors are very small and very isolated in the grand scheme of things. They are not representative of the real Thailand, nor are they representative of the real Amsterdam. Are they representative of the real Las Vegas? Although I don't know if that's the the best moralistic example. There is a difference between normalizing something and accepting that it is there. If you feel the need to normalize it, if you feel the need to tell the person who is doing it, this is just normal what you're doing, don't worry about it. If you want to go and get plowed by 1,000 guys in a day, that is normal, and we're going to give you a reason to explain why. Education, oh, you're educating people, I understand, thank you. Now that we've got that context, we can normalize this, we can accept this. No, Let's not normalize this type of thing. Let's not accept this type of thing. Let's try and clean society up. It's already getting dirty enough for our children. Let's try and make the world a better place for them instead of just getting worse and worse. Last video I spoke about nostalgia, about looking back fondly on my younger years as the peak of life. Genuinely feel that me, my friends, my generation, people in their 30s now getting towards their 40s, were the last generation who led what would be considered a pretty normal childhood, because I feel like the childhoods that you see playing out nowadays, they are not normal. So to round it back to the original question, why is there so much negativity here in Thailand? Why are people, foreigners, expats, whatever you want to call them, immigrants out here in Thailand so angry, or why are certain pockets of them? Number one, I think it's a small minority. I think there are a lot more normal foreigners out here just living normal lives, whatever their situation, whatever their circumstance. They're not going online spreading hate, they are simply living life. Number two, I think those who do go online and spread hate, they're in a very strange headspace. They've either been raised spreading hate and being hated, being scrutinizing online, and they don't know any different, or they've never had that outlet before and they don't know what to do with themselves. Think that suddenly, because they've got a smartphone in their hands with a faceless account, and they don't question whether they actually should. And number three, I think because life here in Thailand is simple. Not for everyone, especially not for a lot of the locals. A lot of people ignore that. They focus on the expat experience. They don't think about the actual locals. I think that actually enhances what I'm saying. It's that you've got nothing else to worry about, so you go online looking for something to worry about, something to get frustrated by, for something to get wound up by. To me, it is the biggest telltale sign of boredom. Why don't you get yourself out to the gym? Why don't you go hiking? Join some sort of club. It would be a much more productive use of one's time. Anyway, geezers, what do you think? Why do you think there is so much hatred here in the expat community in Thailand? I'm lucky enough to have lived in 3 countries. I've never experienced this level of hatred, this level of anger anywhere else except here. So let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're going to be one of those people who denies it exists, I think you're probably part of the problem, guys, because it is definitely a problem. I've had various conversations with people who've said they've simply had to get off social media because it wasn't good for them. And me, while social media is not the most important thing in the world, the fact some people I know feel like they've been bullied out of it because they don't want to see that disrespect, that hatred every time they go on it, that is just pretty pathetic in my opinion. Hope you've enjoyed this ramble, guys, and until next time, have a great day. Bye bye.